the senses. Our senses can cause our reality to change due to the limits of our senses. This has been shown scientifically, futuristically, artistically, and is mirrored culturally. For example, this image from the stimulus packet shows a 3D artwork by Joe Hill and Max Lowry that shows the limits of our senses because, as you can see in the artwork, it looks like there are multiple floors beneath this, but in reality they're just painted onto the floor. A quote by the Chronicle of Higher Education says, "The ideas about perception are changing," he says, "as researchers take note that your brain glues together the senses." This means that, for example, when two beeps and a flash are shown, the mind pieces together the beep and the flash. So instead of thinking that there's only one flash, people will think that there are two because their mind syncs up the beeps with the flashes. And then this is also shown in this image where all senses come into the thalamus right here and then are spread out to their respective areas for the senses. But whenever two senses are combined, they're sent to the association areas, which is where these two senses get combined. A quote by Frontiers in Human Neuroscience says, "Sensory perception is often the most striking proof of something factual. When we perceive something, we interpret it, we take it as objective or real. Most obviously, you can experience this with eyewitness testimonies. If an eyewitness has seen it with the naked eye, judges, jury members, and attendees take reports of these percepts not only as strong evidence, but usually as fact, despite the active and biasing process on the basis of perception and memory." This shows both some implication of the senses, as they will send people to jail, and also shows some limitations of them because of memory and biasing when you see something. The counter-argument against this could use the quote from the first scientific slide against it and show that the brain is messing up the senses, not perception, not the senses. Yes, the brain does play a part in this, but as shown by that artwork once again, and scented candles, which trick the senses and are extremely common, the senses are the main cause because the brain has no part in either of these, and yet they still have these mix-ups. A possible solution to this would be to untangle or strengthen the senses to break these illusions. Of course, this would take a lot of time, money, and effort, but some advances are already being made. Gene editing in embryos is already possible, as shown by Chinese scientist He Jiankui, who recently made strides in genetically modified twins to prevent HIV. And senses are already being simulated by some prosthetics, and sensors are also starting to be able to use these senses. Of course, this will bring up lots of ethical concerns, as gene editing is not exactly ethical. And then here are all those sources.
Okay, Jack, question for you. What might be the real-world implications or consequences or influence on others' behavior or decision-making processes of your findings? And then what are the implications to your community?
The real-world implications could be more correct court cases because all the senses are more reliable. And if they're more reliable, then eyewitness testimonies will be more reliable, making more evidence more concrete. And some community implications would be that
How could it affect us, like right here on the west side? Anything you can think of there?
it could allow us to experience the world more fully and not be confused by our senses.